no matter what I tell you about nutrition, it's not gonna happen, right, unless you do it, but unless you become more in tune with yourself and everything that's going on. Because the number one thing people say to me is, I don't have time, I'm so stressed, okay? So, like the Dr. Oz, when he talking about what your body can do, right? And then what the expectations, like at work more and more and more and more, and you can't do it. You can only do so much. So something falls off the plate, and it's usually the nutrition. Because now you feed yourself because you are rewarding yourself, or there's no time to cook, you're not prepping, and you need to feed your body because your mind is so tired. Okay? And that's what we go to. So exactly what they were saying is true. No matter who comes to me for nutrition, you know what I usually end up having to do? It's more the whole life. We go through the whole what's going on in their life before we even get to the nutrition. And they're like, oh my God, yeah, going through my whole life. I said, well, because I can't tell you to do this, this, and this, and then you have this life that I don't know what's going on, that you're caretaking for your mother who has cancer, and you work, and you this, and you that, and I'm telling you, okay, go home and drink your water, and then after that, make sure that you make your breakfast, and then prep the big meal, So I need to learn about you, but you have to learn about you, and as we're doing it, it's really cool because you start to focus on, you're like, you know what, it's true. That's what I'm doing. For instance, like the job. So my husband, so much stress, but he needs to be here because what it is how he handles that stress and how he, activates in his mind. So what he'll do is exactly the negative first. And it's so in his head, like she was telling you, everything comes negative first. Then he'll start to pull out some of the positives. Oh, well, I don't mean it like that, but then, and so when you become negative, that's all you are, is negative, okay? And then that comes into the food. When you start eating the crappier food and the fast food, all that, that's what you crave. So it really is a big connection, okay? I always love to talk about the water. Tammy's water talk. So if you just peek right there, we're talking about how much water we actually need. And people, how much should we drink? Everybody's body is different. It truly is. The guideline is cutting your body weight in half, and that's how many ounces you should drink, okay? But if you don't drink close to that, don't try to force that. It's little bits at a time. So we were talking about, for Alicia, how to get more water in. She's lost 1 million water bottles. Okay, like all of us, you buy these nice water bottles and you leave them somewhere, right? And you don't want to do the plastic, right? So what do? A great idea is the big stainless steel cups with the built-in straw. That water will stay cold. They're not going to be affected by the sun. You put that in your slot in your car, right? And that's when you're drinking, when you're in your car. Most of us are in the car quite a bit, driving here and there. You drink and you leave it. Don't bring it to where you're going. When you're somewhere and there's a little water fountain, take a little bit. Every little bit adds up. And you won't feel, kind of like you're torturing yourself guzzling this water. So that's a big thing. Your kidneys, yes, everybody says, well, now we have to pee. And you are going to have to pee more. But your kidneys will regulate, okay? You don't realize how dehydrated you are until you start hydrating, if that makes sense. So many visits to the ER are due to dehydration. They pump you up and you feel good to go. And I mean, it's things to where you think you're having a heart attack, you're passing out, so many things because we just don't drink the water. Now, again, how are you going to get the water down? Some people are warm water. My daughter cannot drink cold water. She just doesn't like it. It bothers her teeth. Some people, like you say, I'm better with a straw, but I don't want to use the plastic all the time, so I get the built-in cup. Hot water, some people love just sipping. Hot water is very hydrating. A lot of people do the hot water with the lemon in the morning. If you did just plain hot water, there's nothing to digest, so it goes right to the cells. So a cup of hot water with no tea bag sounds strange, but if you start sipping it, you're kind of like, this is fine. you know? So again, some flavored waters are fine, but with the carbonation, you have to, that's what we breathe out anyway, so now you just have to work harder to get that out of your system. But it is some hydration. If you need just a little dab of juice, you know, a big water with a dab of juice, that's fine. They also have the glasses that have the fruit you can put in the bottom. So you were at the last talk, so how did you do with adding in a little bit more water?
Oh, I have the glass right next to the sink, and every time I go there, I just...
You take a little bit, exactly.
And I don't like ice water, so it's
fine if it just goes like that. So...
And I had to go use napkins several times.
Several times, yeah, that's gonna happen. So, and do cut it off, you know, before supper time if you don't wanna be up all night. Because that's annoying too, because sleep is important. But if we're looking at like how it functions for your systems, pumps up your blood volume, helps with your blood pressure, it's vital to process your food, your digestive system, regulates your body temperature, drains your lymphatic system, acts as a shock absorber to your joints, crucial for breathing. Believe it or not, breathing is the #1 way to get rid of fat. So when you're eating well and you're trying to burn respiration, but guess what? If you're dehydrated, it's not gonna work, right? So that's why we always like to talk about our water. It's important. And again, just starting with small little bit. Everybody has a phone, so I always tell them, put a little reminder in, even if it's once a day. That goes off. You're gonna look at it because it goes off. Everybody looks at their phone. And it just says water. And you're like, you know what? I haven't had any today. So when you travel, are you going by car?
Oh yeah, I have no problem if I'm in my car. It's when I'm teaching, I end up.
Well, and that's
I teach all
difficult.
day, and I have like 4 different water bottles. I'm like, where did they go?
Right.
And then some days, and I've been testing myself because I'm like, I want to do 3, like,
Right.
because I feel
Right.
so much better when I get a ton of water.
Right.
And some days it's just I forget.
Right.
And so,
Right.
but yeah, so when I'm in my car, that's not the issue. The issue is more when I'm
Okay.
teaching.
Okay.
And I just gotta get. I had the
Just
best water bottle, and then I lost it. And I
You
was
just
so
gotta,
mad.
and again, just like everything, you have to start it as a habit. And that's what you should be drinking with every meal.
Yeah.
So when you eat your meals, it's water. And that should be a no-brainer. It's just we kind of get to, gets a little boring. Okay, so with all this mindful stuff that we were talking about, there's actually some strategies for mindful eating. So if you take a peek at your mindful eating, what that means is, are you eating because you're hungry? Are you eating just to eat, right? So that's what I always say. I say, raise your hand if you live to eat. Oh, only one? Okay, raise your hand if you eat to live. Right. Eating to live means you're like, oh, I need nutrients. I need to survive. I need to eat something. Most of us live to eat. Oh, we're going out with the girls. I wonder what we're going to get. Where we're going. It is a social thing. It is part of our culture. So, but there's little strategies. So #1 would be making eating an exclusive event, meaning you are sitting down at the table to eat. You're not reading your paper. You're not on your computer. You're not in your car. You're sitting down and you're eating. Right? How many people do that? Okay. Okay. All right, we're getting there. That's almost half the room, so that's good. Most of us are doing something else. Is that right? Pretty much. So when you are just eating exclusively, it's going to be a lot better for you. Digestion, everything. Check your stress level. Like I just said, when you were saying you get home from work, like he was saying on Dr. Oz, you get home and you keep that going when you walk in the house. Which we've all had those days. Think about a time you've come in and you've taken it out on whoever's in the house. Yeah. They weren't at your job. They didn't cause anything that caused, right? And that's who we take it out on. So what's your stress level when you're going to eat? Because if it's high, you're going to eat something. You're going to get the pizza. You're going to get a little extra, some cookie. You're going to get things that are going to feel good. Because those types of foods produce the serotonin in the body, and those are the feel-good hormones. So that's why we go to those. Okay? Appreciate your food. And like we said, not to be all, crazy with it, but appreciate your food. Because it's there to keep you healthy, to give you nutrients and energy, and where it's coming from. So eating slowly. Guess what? I wish we had something here we could chew.
Yeah.
Supposed to try to chew a bite 28 times. 28 times. Sometimes I'm even watching my kids and they're already so fast and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you're young, you shouldn't even be doing this fast. So think about how fast you eat. You look down, and have you ever done that where you've eaten something, you look down and you're like, oh no, I must have put it down somewhere because I know I didn't finish it, right? Right? You do that and I'm like, there's no way I ate that already. And I look around, I'm like looking in the kitchen, I'm like, where did that go? I already ate it, because you wolf it down without even thinking about it, okay? That is not mindful chewing, that's not eating slowly, okay? Some people have set the timers, where you just say, how long does it take you to eat a meal, right? Because now I know at work, even with Titleist, that, people are whipping it down. It's like you're supposed to at least get a half hour paid, right? Some get an hour, but you're done in 10 minutes, right? And that's it, it's gone. Being mindful about the taste, the texture, the smell, especially if you're cooking, right? We always talk about, I always bring up the Thanksgiving meal. When you walk in, you're like, oh, it smells so good. I cannot wait to eat it. It takes a long time sometimes to prepare these foods. Not always, right? But then sometimes when it's hours and it's gone and all you look at is the dishes.
Yeah.
Like, where did it go? And that's just kind of, again, being mindful of the portions. The trick with the smaller plate, you do laugh, but when you put things on a smaller plate, you're going to eat less. When you put things on a larger plate, you're going to put more on there. And when I do my portions, which maybe we'll do here, the portion distortion, it's very interesting because if you went and got a sandwich and they served you a 6-inch sub, you're going to eat the 6-inch sub and you're going to be good. If they served you a 10-inch sub, you're going to be like, I need to eat this, I bought this. You will eat that, right? Instead, you should be cutting it in half, saving it, and bringing it home. But when there's more there, you're going to eat it. So that's why a nice tip like that is if you go out with someone to lunch or something like that, say, do you want to split something? Usually I'm like, no, I'm hungry. But it's true. I have one girlfriend that does it all the time. And it really is all you need. So portions are important, okay? They've changed everything. Even a candy bar used to be so many ounces, it's like triple now. Those candy bars, you know what I mean? That's 3 or 4 servings. And people don't think of that. They just think they're eating a candy bar. A slice of pizza used to be a slice of pizza. Now it's like, they're huge. It's like eating 3 slices in one, right? So we want to watch the portions. Be mindful again of how hungry you really are. Are you really hungry? Are you bored? Right? If you're really hungry and you finish your first serving and then you think you still want more, that's what we say, walk away, go do a load of laundry, make a quick phone call, do something, come back. And if you're like, I'm starving, then you're hungry. But if you come back and you're like, ooh, I don't really want more fish and broccoli, something else I want, right? Then you're not really hungry. That's just because we're used to it. And habits, it's really hard to change a habit. So if you're used to always having a treat at the end of your meal, then that's what you're, in your head, it's hard to break that, but they can be broken. And again, when we eat healthier in a minute, they'll talk about, you're gonna fill your body with better stuff and more nutrients, you're not gonna crave this stuff as much, okay? Be mindful of your protein, because the protein as well as fiber should be on here too. Both of those are gonna slow the rate of entry in your insulin level. So I always tell people if you're having a snack, even if you're having a piece of fruit, have a little bit of protein, okay, with it. Put a little almond butter on it, or something that's, if people do dairy, have a little piece of cheese. Do some beans with, your salad and mix things in. Try to always have some protein and fiber, okay? And just your calorie budget, people don't realize that the little pick and a little handful, and it's like, oh my God, if I really added that up, right? That could be an extra 500 calories a day, times 7, that's a pound a week, okay? That doesn't include the wine. That's on the next talk, okay? So again, determine, this one's always good, if the food is actually calorie worthy, right? When you go to these parties and you're eating a store-bought brownie, you're picking at it and you're like eating it, you don't even like it. It's not even good, but you're eating it. So the tip to that is when you go to a party, before you go, you eat before you go. Sounds silly, but you do. You eat something decent, make, an omelet or something before you go. Then when you get there, you will be more like, I don't really want that? You know, I'll take this looks good, and you don't eat as much. And then again, don't deprive yourself. As soon as somebody says you can't have that, right? What do you do?
Overeat.
It's overeat it. It's like gorge. So you know what? Have it. If you go out, get a little bit. Everybody splits at the table. It's really all you need is the bite, the taste, right? And I'll never forget this one thing my husband did with my girlfriend when I first met him. We went out to eat like most of us women do, and he said, "Would you ladies like dessert?" And we said, "No, we're good." He said, "Are you sure? Would you like dessert?" "No, really, we're fine, we're good." Okay, so he went and ordered dessert, right? And it comes this beautiful dessert, and we're like, so we get our spoons, and we go to reach, and he pulls it away, right? And we were like, what? He's like, you didn't want dessert. Either one of you wanted dessert. Why did you get to? So we laughed, but we were talking about all we do want is the bite. And we're like, we really do just want bite. So if you do that and you split it, things like that help. On the back was just a little fun thing about movement and how much you should be moving for your fitness level a day, okay? Because without movement, none of this is everything has to work together. And when we talk about, when David brought up the joy, or Alicia brought up joy, that's the number one thing that I find with people. I'm not motivated. I know what to eat. I know what to do, right? But if you don't join, I always tell everybody, join something. Join something. I don't care what it is, but if you're not part of something, you have no purpose. And when you have no purpose, then you just go through all those feelings, and then food is your friend. So you think, right? And that's what you do, because that's something that makes you feel better. So if you don't do something with somebody, join something. We had class this morning, right? And how many did we have in there, right? It was slower than normal. We had about 36.
No, you have.
We usually get about 40, right? But it's a social thing as well, right?
Right.
And you belong to something. I teach a class at the Y. It's a low impact.
It's huge.
Right? But it's great. It's huge.
Crazy.
There's like 40 people in there. And it's just fun. But they come every Wednesday. I'm thinking, how are people still coming? I've been teaching that class for 17 years, every Wednesday morning. Right? But you join something, whatever it is. You have to, if you don't like that, but you like swimming, or you like, knitting, or just join something. When you have a purpose, then you start to fulfill other things, and the food is not what you go to. Okay? So as far as cleaning up a diet, how can we do this? And again, when we were talking about, it's small steps. You're not going to all of a sudden go home tomorrow and meditate for 4 hours. It's not going to happen, right? You might, but you're going to start slow, and you want to. Everything is to be accomplished, right? When you accomplish, then you feel good. It's like people who are trying to lose weight. When they lose just 1 pound, they're like, okay, all right, this is working. But when you're not, right? You're like, forget this. This doesn't work. It's like everything. Do small steps, and that's my approach. Is just start with something when you leave tonight. Something, one thing you didn't do before you got here. Okay? And I like to do, as John knows too, the crowding out. Put the good stuff in. Don't not eat, your dessert or your pizza or this or that, but put other stuff in. If you're having the pizza, get the salad first. You're still having the pizza, right? But you're not going to have as much. And you're not depriving yourself. And as you start to do that, you're like, I don't even want the pizza, I just want the salad, it's so good. Your body starts to crave that stuff, okay? So, eating a clean diet, all right? Eat food, not too much, mostly plants, Michael Pollan. So many of us want to make the healthy changes, but don't know exactly how. So, everyone's different, okay? What I like and what you like is totally different. Allergies and schedules and all of that, so you gotta start with what works for you. But the main thing is to eat a clean diet, which is consisting of whole foods, okay? Which means less processed and less overly refined type foods. Which mostly those are gonna be in a box, in a can, in some type of package. Okay? In a bag, exactly. Okay? And like David said last time, if you look on the back of something and there's all those ingredients that kind of look like this, right? No. No. This should be like 3 ingredients, 4 ingredients, sometimes just 1, right? Like peanut butter. If anybody eats peanut butter. My father was the Skippy guy. Okay, and on the back,
It's the ground peanut
it's
butter at Whole Foods.
sugar, partially hydrogenated oil.
So
The-
I
the-
told you
right, right.
it's the Teddy Smooth. Now when I was growing up, let me tell you, the Teddy Smooth was in the big yellow container like her sweater. It was disgusting. I'd go to my friends' house, I'm like, I am not eating that. And try to scrape it out from the refrigerator, right? You couldn't spread it, the bread would rip. But now, Teddy makes a nice smooth one, right, or chunky. Yes, it has a little oil on it, but you can take a little of that off, but you can just, you know, the oil's good, it's the good oil. Put it in the fridge, it's not gonna be that hard, and on the back it says peanuts. That's what you're looking for. So the purer you can go on ingredients, the better, okay? I have an app that you can write down if you want, if you have your phones. I love this app. I didn't bring my phone in, I was very good. But it's called Foodicate, Foodcate, okay? So say you do eat crackers, okay? Right, Tom? Tom would then take the cracker he's eating, which is Ritz, am I right?
Okay.
Ritz, saltines, okay? And he would scan the package, all right? Or you could type it in, and it would come out with, you know, a C plus or a C minus. Ritz gets a D. And you're like, oh my God, I'm eating this cracker, right? Shoot, right?
Like the generation of men that
Right, right.
eat crackers with tuna fish.
Right?
It was like a cultural thing in the 50s
Right.
and 60s.
Someone just told me the best appetizer was a Ritz cracker with mayo
Oh God.
and then
What?
a cucumber.
Oh God. Ugh.
Oh.
Literally, like, no, telling me like this to share, with like to make for my people. I'm going, oh my God, right? And I'm thinking, she needs to come to the class. But, so you scan that, right? And it comes out with a D, the Ritz company. So what you hit is alternatives. Boop. Triscuit is an A. Okay?
Triscuit's an A?
Triscuit's an A, baby.
No
All
way.
flavors of
Nabisco.
No, but this particular,
They
okay?
have new ones out.
They have, so what it is
They
there's no
don't taste
GMO.
very good.
Okay? So this is what's happening with these companies. There's good parts of these companies that make this good stuff, and then there's parts of these big companies that don't. So, and again, it's to do with flavoring, it's to do with, like, so many different things. So the Foodicate really helps you because you might try a product that gets, say, a C, but in a different flavor because they take out blah, 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 it gets a B. So just, again, another step that, yes, I didn't tell Tom not to eat crackers. I just said go to a better cracker, right? So the Triscuits get an A because it's 100% whole grain, right? And then they might have a little salt in it. But it's 10 times better than the ingredients on the back of the Ritz. So now you still have it. So I love that tip because, again, it just helps you start to get a little cleaner with the diet if you're using anything packaged, okay? And sugars and sodium are also going to be in there too. So number one is cut down first to be clean on the alcohol. And I'm going to give a talk here that's going to be how alcohol stores fat and the effects on your body. Because it's an interesting one for the people who do their little wine every night, okay? So cutting back on the alcohol, cutting back on the sugars, we know, skipping the processed foods, cutting down on salt, so it's pretty much anything just plain white, cutting down on saturated fat, again, more animal fats, going more plant, more nuts and avocado. Did I do that right?
Did a great.
Right? So the refined grains, this one's always a fun one, okay? Because just quickly, before I get you to fall asleep here, rice, let's go rice quickly, all right? Again, it depends on how this stuff is made, right? So people think we want this whole carb craze to stop carbs. Carbs are not the enemy, okay? But the refined, the things that are bleached, the things that are made with certain starches are bad because they spike that insulin and they make you crave. And that's all in here. I don't have to read this, you can read this at home. But it really is important because I want you to read the back of this because that's what it talks about. But, so for instance, rice. You have white rice, right? But guess which one is one of the lowest glycemic and good for you rices? Basmati. What happens is white rice is made, and brown rice, is made with either amylose or amylopectin. Okay? That's what the starch that's in it, that's made up of. Amylopectin is going to raise your blood sugar. All right? So two pieces of wheat toast, which is not whole grain, it's wheat toast, which is a refined, right? Is going to raise your blood sugar higher than 6 tablespoons of sugar. No, I'm not joking. This is how this stuff happens, and they're addictive. So in regular white rice and stuff, that's amylopectin. It's a super starch. It makes your body crave. Amyloos, amyloos.
How do you spell it?
Amylopectin, AMLYOPECTAN. But in the basmati rice, it's the other one, which is a slow entering. So therefore, it's going to last longer and not spike you up. So, and wild rice has the same. So it doesn't mean you can't have rice. It just means pick the most nutritious one. Bread, for instance, do you eat bread?
A little bit.
Okay? But going into like the sprouted grain bread, that means it's keeping the husk. So it's not going to turn into that mush of flour, and therefore it's going to take a lot longer to digest, and it comes with a complete protein. So Ezekiel bread or sprouted grain bread, those are going to be a lot better than just bread. There's plain bread in the store. Okay? So there are ways to go around it. And then the rest of this here, drinking your water, eating your fruits and vegetables. But what I thought was interesting that I want you to know, just make sure you peek on the back of this, because the other health issues, excessive sodium, as found in the fast processed foods, causes water retention and bloating. As we know, you've gone out and had a meal or something, Chinese food, and it's happened. Refined sugars, which is your white, your corn syrup, etc., and chemical artificial sweeteners will add weight, BMI, not because they're high in calories or fat, but because they store in our fat cells and cause sluggishness, after effect, and so on, and make you crave more. So read that when you get home. Please try your best not to do those artificials. Take yourself out of those. I'd rather you just do regular sugar or
all the
something like
corn
that.
syrups that are in all these sweeteners.
The corn, oh yeah.
Corn syrup.
Yeah, and what's happening is all that stuff plus the artificials are 10 times sweeter, so they kick your body's response into one sweet. Right. So, like I said, we have a lot more, but it's time.
Thank you,
Time,
Jane.
time, time.
Thank you.